Hello and welcome everyone. This is Doris and today I have a fun journal to share with you. It is made in part from digitals from DearJulieJulie and Cara Brandon Creations as part of a fall collaboration 2022 here on YouTube, and also items from my own personal stash. This is a 1961 children's book called Animals of the Field and Forest by author Mina Lewitton. I have altered the cover with a 2-inch spine using this beautiful fall-like leaf fabric. Added a charm here. Added this vintage wide rickrack on the front here, using some book corners on all 4 corners there. My favorite closure, the hitch post fastener. And if you look on the side here, we have some charms that I have added that will go through. And this is a 2-signature journal, and it has approximately 104 pages depending on how you count envelopes and that kind of thing. So let's take a look. So on the inside cover here, we have this book plate. I've been wanting to use these for quite a while, and with that rabbit on there, I felt like it was perfect for this journal. So the cover of my first signature, this beautiful collage piece by Cara Brandon. I have some ribbon and vintage lace. On the inside, this tree field guide that I've stitched onto some cardstock, a little bit of ribbon, and then 2 ephemera pieces here. We have this little tag using some scraps, and this pretty postcard image from DearJulieJulie. And on the back, I just did a little experimenting with some distress ink and stamping. This side, we have a beautiful raccoon image. This is from a National Wildlife Federation magazine, and I've used a few of the illustrations throughout the book. Down here, we have a leaf that I picked up and added some Mod Podge to protect. A little piece of fabric, and the raccoon wording that is from the book that I'm using. Made a little pocket just with some little scraps. This is with the DearJulieJulie background paper, and this quote here from Anne Frank came from a Treasures and Inspirations book by Hallmark. Have a cute little squirrel they used my circle punch on. We have a tag with some scraps, embossing folder on the green scrapbook paper there, and just did some fun little cutouts. A little bit of burlap and some vintage seam binding. Here we have a piece of wallpaper. I've added some more stamped images, another die cut with this beautiful image from Cara and some vintage trim. Here we have this cute little playing card. All of my playing cards in this journal are from the Etsy shop called The Brown Pear. Flip this out, just a little bit of stamping there. Old piece of writing paper. This is an end paper from a book. Some more ribbon. Made a little tab with a little cluster there. Some fabric. Took a leaf and a graphite pencil and rubbed that on there, and then covered it up with a little bit of matte Mod Podge just to protect it. Down at the bottom, just a little piece of scrapbook paper and washi tape. Next page, another playing card. I really love this one. Here we have some ephemera I took from a wildlife book, and I used North American Wildlife and Nature in America book. Both of those are Reader's Digest issues. You see, I just add a little stamp on describing the fox there. Here they are, how cute. And backed it with some coffee dyed paper. Over on this side, we have a little cluster. Stamped a rabbit here on some muslin. Washi tape down here and up here. And on this scrapbook paper, I've added this paper bag that has been embossed with a script type design. little journal card, and some more beautiful little images there of a mushroom. And then just a little piece of paper from my book I'm using, another space to write. Beautiful background here from Cara. Here we have a blank greeting card with this beautiful eagle on it. Over here we have another cluster. This one, little label, and then that raccoon sticker is from my scrapbooking days, some vintage lace. And this is actually dyed using black walnuts, believe it or not. So it has not a cream color and not the pink that you get from avocado skins, but it's somewhere in between, and I really like how it turned out. So that was a fun experiment. Have another embossed pocket here with an image from my book. And another image from my book I just stitched around, and a piece of envelope on the back to write on. Over on this side, a vintage writing paper. And I did some research, and this here says something like Austria-Hungary Men's Association or Club. Let's see, founded September 11th, 1892. And then down here it just says Omaha, Nebraska, 1930 blank. And that I picked up at an estate sale, probably the first estate sale I had been to when I started junk journaling. Moving on, beautiful background paper. Another one of my fabric ruffles I like to make. This here's a little paper clip with some leaves stamped on it and a little mushroom image. Another little charm, and this is a little squirrel. Another pretty background. This one's from Julie. Here we have another fabric cluster, vintage lace, and then some not so vintage ribbon. And then some pages from my book. I tried to include as many as I could. We are, and then we're getting to the middle of the first signature. I've included this postal-it little card where you can write on the one side and then you just address it on the other side. And I decided to close it up here to make a pocket. And then inside, I just have a few little stamped leaves, just for fun. Over here, another playing card. Fussy cut this beautiful little deer. Thought that turned out really well. This came from my graph paper that I use on my table. It's a large pad to just kind of stamp off on, and I thought this would be perfect. Another place to write. This side we have a large tag that I've made into a corner tuck. Has some script embossing on underneath it. We have this deer image from my wildlife magazine and a little piece of black washi tape and black seam binding there. Then underneath, this poem from an Ideals magazine, Hold Autumn in Your Hand by William Arnett Wofford. And then on the back, this absolutely beautiful fall image. Another beautiful magazine image here. Right there. I have lots of room to write in this journal. To me, making a journal is partly about decorating and partly about leaving plenty of room to write. Another little stamped piece of fabric with the leaf there. This is a hidden paper clip. I'm not going to take it off, but it has this beautiful owl image and then onto some scrapbook paper and vintage lace on there. Down here, just part of my children's book that I'm using. Over here, a couple more digital images from Julie and Cara, and a couple of scraps that I had. Over here, another fabric ruffle. And this time we have a little leaf and bead charm dangling there. This side I've made a pocket with some coffee dye paper that had some doilies on it. This is a napkin I cut out. images that are part of the collaboration. Then on the other side, just did a little stamping. Another digital fussy cut, the mushroom. Over here, a pocket with another one of my leaves that I added Mod Podge onto, and onto some scrapbook paper. Fall ruffle, large tag from my book. Did some ink spraying there and stitching. Part of my ruffle I just wrapped around like a tab, and then added this little tree stamp at the bottom. Over here, just a couple little scraps from the digital collections. And I will have those listed below the video too, where you can purchase them if you wish. Used a little piece of twine there. And a mushroom stamp. Over here, another fabric stamp, this one with a pine cone. A little piece of washi with this owl image. Added a little fabric around the edge of the writing paper because it's pretty frail. Another playing card that I used a die cut on. And another stamp there, oak leaf stamp. Beautiful tree image. Used some vintage photo corners. And another little piece of my stamping off paper. Over here, a peekaboo pocket design by Kathleen Maurer. Images all here from Cara, Brandon, and then just a little bit of writing paper in there. Another large area to journal. And that's the end of the first signature. In between the two signatures, I've added this little folded tag. Part of one of the weeks of the collaboration. Lots of fun little ephemera pieces I've tucked in here. Did some embossing, little card that you can write on, and some vintage seam binding. This is from a divider. Made a little belly band. Here we are onto the second signature. Some vintage burnt orange colored velvety trim with some vintage lace. Another charm, and this time it's a little owl. Here I've made another pocket. This here was cut out from my wildlife book. Add a little fabric. A little stamping there. Wildlife book image, just a beautiful image there of a turkey. And I added that onto my wallpaper. And some more stamping. And this is onto some scrapbooking paper. Lots of fun little images. I did all kinds of things on here. I've embossed it, added a little bit of gold inking to just bring out the leaves in the embossing. A little bit of copper ribbon on each of the little tags there. Another image from my Treasures book by Hallmark. Another beautiful fall picture. Over here we have some more leaf stamping. This is, I believe, some vintage typewriter paper. And an ephemera piece again from the brown pair. Information about the fox from my book. Another beautiful fabric ruffle. Made a little tag here with a itty bitty little brad and some vintage trim there and a piece of scrap. Washi tape and some more digital paper there. Another little fabric cluster with a little label and another Creative Memory sticker. Over here, beautiful bird image backed onto this sunshine end leaf background by Julie. Another little fabric cluster. Another stamp. Another beautiful blank greeting card. Just add a little bit of stamped leaves there, trim, washi tape at the bottom. A cut-off piece from some travel scrapbook paper. Another little fabric cluster. This here is a little paper clip. Add a little button onto there. More of that unique black walnut stained paper with my vintage trim. Here we have this adorable digital from Cara Brandon. I kind of divided it, made a pocket on this side. These are more pieces from the Ideals magazine. This is I Walked in Autumn Woods by Margaret Lowe Ridley. Added a little vintage rickrack up there. Then on the back, if you put the two pieces together, you have a view of the mountains. This side, I really love this squirrel, so I fussy cut him out, and his tail, you'll see, is over. It's a long tail, so I had left it over on the other side. This here, I was playing around with my coffee filters and came up with this little pocket, stamped a leaf on it, and it has kind of two spots here. Put a little tag in there. And then this field guide image of black walnuts, which is perfect because that's kind of what I've been talking about with my paper experiment. Vintage lace, of course, and some more little beading there. A large tag turned into a side tuck, and there's the squirrel's little tail hanging over the edge. Another tag I made with some scraps. Did some embossing there. Center of the second signature, we have this first day of issue envelope. And it's of a Wolverine, which is well known in my home state of Michigan. That was another beautiful ephemera piece I got from the Brown Pair. Used a die cut on a digital image there. And then here we just have a few pieces from my book. Looks like a beaver, a bear, and the opossum. Then we have information about the moose. Just took part of that, made another writing space, added some scraps that I had. So you can write all along there and on the back. Some trims. Another little charm, this time of a deer. Another little digital image I used a die cut on. Little mushroom stamped there. More of my walnut paper. Here I have a pocket, another image from the Wildlife Federation magazine. A possum image from my book. And this cut off, I just added a little scrap with leaf stamping there. Another die cut image. Another cut off from my stamping paper. Another leaf that I preserved. Leaf stamping on this side with some fabric on the edge to protect that fragile writing paper. Here we have a pocket with a matching tag. Use the same ribbon on the edge and at the top of the tag here. Just did a little pine stamping at the bottom. Another playing card. Another journal card with the vintage seam binding. And a piece of washi tape up there. Just took some different fabric scraps up there. I really like how that looked. Another stamped fox onto some muslin. little cutout. Lots of little fussy cut images on the edge of this end paper. Some fabric. More wallpaper for a side tuck. Little digital image. I just used a frame die cut to put it in. And another piece from the tree field guide. Here I made a little hanging tag with the deer, a little stamp image. And another little image there from the digitals. A fabric ruffle, of course. Raccoon images from my book. And another image from that Hallmark Treasures book. Stamped leaf here onto some fabric. Another little tag. More from my book here, this time the woodchuck. Pocket with some vintage seam binding. Cute little squirrel that I fussy cut. Part of the tree field guide. And a journaling card. A lot of space to write. And the back of the last signature. Then here at the back of the book we have this pocket I created using my wallpaper image from my book, the vintage seam binding down here, and then a couple little pieces. This one here was a cutoff from that raccoon at the beginning of the book. I just love that image, so I thought I would back it onto some coffee dyed paper. And then this here came from that Treasures Hallmark book. I just felt like this was perfect since we're doing a field and forest theme. And that is just beautiful. Then on the back, this little message, whoever owned it first. To Mom, October 1973. Love always, Nancy, Howard, and Stephen. I just thought that was kind of fitting to keep that in there with the book. And that is the end of my beautiful Animals of the Field and Forest journal. Thank you so much to Julie and Cara for the fall collaboration. And thank you to all of my subscribers or those of you that are new. Thank you for checking out my work. I hope all of you have a wonderful day, and bye for now.